Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Emma Armstrong.
And I'm Morgan Pagel. Today we'll be celebrating Newswatch's 30th year anniversary.
And Evangel has named an interim replacement for Dr. Carol Taylor.
Braden Nelson is here with your forecast.
And Sadie Chisholm has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today. As we celebrate 30 years of Newswatch. The Nigerian city of Lagos experiences its 8th day of police brutality protests, which brought more violence with the death of a civilian and a police officer. A police unit who has been accused of unlawful arrests and murder was finally disbanded. Citizens, however, were not happy to find that these officers were being redeployed without disciplinary actions being done. BBC's Aisha Khalid reported that there were many casualties following the use of live ammunition on protesters. On Monday, Fox 61 reported that an 8-month-old baby was found in a dumpster outside an apartment by a maintenance worker. The one responsible, a 24-year-old Connecticut woman. The baby was taken to Yale New Haven Children's Hospital and was reported to be in stable condition. The infant seemed to have had burns on its hands. According to Captain Anthony Duff, quote, "While detectives have determined the Hampden woman put the baby in the dumpster, investigators have not yet determined who is responsible for the child's injuries," end quote.
KY3 reported that Al Haley, manager of the Kimberling Airport, is still trying to wrap his brain about the plane crash that occurred Saturday, October 10th. The plane had 2 passengers on board that were injured. The crash was pretty serious and occurred in a nearby neighborhood in between 2 lake homes. The pilot's name has not been released, but he has been with the Kimberley Airport for some time. After takeoff, the pilot needed to get back on the ground. Trying to land at the airport is how the accident occurred. The crash is still under investigation and the pilot has not been able to be reached, but thankfully the passengers will be okay. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is facing some pushback among Democrats after rejecting the White House's latest and most expensive $1.8 trillion coronavirus relief over the weekend. Pelosi's administration's proposal lacked a, quote, strategic plan to crush the virus and gave President Trump too much power in determining how the funds were spent, end quote. Fox Business stated that Pelosi believes that the proposal is amounting to 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Now we have Braden here. Who's giving us a first look at the weather? Braden?
So for our weather today, it's actually quite interesting because last week it was very warm, but this week it's cooling down. You'll see that in the full forecast, but here's what's going on right now. So currently it is quite overcast and it's about 61 degrees. So it's quite chilly. We have about 46% humidity with interesting wind chill. So overall, it's quite chilly. Later today, it'll go up to about 65 degrees, so not too much of a difference, but some of those clouds will clear and it'll be like that. And then we have 13-mile-per-hour winds, which is quite crazy. And then you'll want to watch out for this because later tonight, we actually have a frost warning. It'll get down into 33 degrees, so not quite freezing, but it's quite close there. So make sure to look out for that. That's kind of the first one we have this season, and you'll see more during our full forecast.
Thanks, Braden. I guess you'll find out more during your full forecast. Coming up next, Morgan interviews student actor Joaquin Lique, and
we'll find out why Springfield's Alamo Draft House has decided to shut its doors. All that and more, next.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with
S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
COVID-19 is still impacting small businesses. In a Facebook post, the Alamo Draft House Cinema has said they will temporarily be closed until new movie releases have been made. Those who have bought tickets already will be able to get a full refund. The post was finished with, quote, "To our film-loving guests and friends in Springfield, your support has meant so much to all of us. We'll be back," end quote. With the retirement of President Taylor on November 25th, the board of Evangel University needed to find someone to temporarily take her position for the spring semester. Dr. George O. Wood has taken on the honor. His experience with Evangel as a pioneer student has prepared him for this position. He has gained much wisdom in his years being the campus pastor, being chairman of the World Assemblies of God Fellowship, and having lived some of his young life in Springfield. He will serve as the interim president until a permanent president is chosen. Now Morgan is here with Joaquin Lique to talk about this year's theater production. Take it away, Morgan.
Thank you, Emma. Well, thanks for joining us today, Joaquin Lique. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Joaquin. I was actually born in California, in San Diego, but I moved to Texas. I got recruited out of Texas as a football player, and now being here, I major in theater and theology.
Awesome,
yes.
Awesome. So how did you personally get involved with the theater at Evangel?
To be honest, just coming here on my visit, it made me just, come in places and just look all over and I've been loving theater and acting ever since I was very, very little. So just being here and, seeing and working with the people that I work with just makes me just go like, wow, like it's really a passion.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this year's production is titled It's a Wonderful Life. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, if you know It's a Wonderful Life, it's really just a story about, you being grateful for the things that you have at that present time and that present place and even for the future. So it really just, pulls on the heartstrings of, what you need to really focus on. Instead of wanting all these other things that you want this success, you need to look at what's there and just enjoy what's there. And it's going great right now, especially with the people.
What is your role in that production?
I play Henry F. Potter, who is the antagonist, and 4 of the characters. But Henry F. Potter is the main focus of the group that I'm working with. Working with that character is awesome. He's a very gritty and rude and mean character, and it's an enjoyment to just do the voice of that guy.
Yeah. So who oversees the whole production?
Annalise and Abby, and they're doing a phenomenal job. Usually it's Doc Wisdom and Lori, but since they're not able to be here all the time, working with Annalise and Abby, they're doing a great job of just making sure that we stay on top of everything with our voices and the acting, all as long as just being there at the same time. They're handling it very well.
So how has this production been going compared to last productions without the pandemic going on?
Man, it's kind of crazy. Due to the fact that it's actually a radio play, we usually just come together and we sit in our chairs and then go over the characters with our voices. all the other actors do. And you know, usually whenever it's an actual play, we go out there, sit on the stage, and get in costume from time to time. And you can't really do that, but there's something different to voice acting from regular acting. So it's a completely different take, but it's actually really fun at the same time. So
yeah, something a little different.
Yeah, it's very different, very different. Yeah.
How has it been working with the crew and all the other actors?
Man, I can say that they're all very, very talented actors. You know, certain guys like David Farmer, and you know, there's another Annalise there, and you know, Vance. There's all these just really great people who have all this crazy talent, and you know, just working with them and you know, seeing how they, you know, bring their character to life off the page. You know, when you're not actually physically acting, just bringing the character to life with their voices, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I enjoy it a lot.
What would you say has been the most challenging aspect of preparing for the production so far?
The voices.
The voices?
The voices, no doubt. Because you know, if you play like 5 different characters like me, or if you play just focusing, because you know, for example, David plays a younger version of himself, a middle-aged version of himself, and the older version of himself. So being able to tap in with that voice and make it so distinct to where people can understand, you know, what you are in that present time, it's difficult, especially for me. You know, I have a certain character, you know, a couple times where like some of my characters literally speak behind each other. So one time I'll be like Dr. Campbell, and another person I'll be like, you know, Henry F. Potter, and it's like, it's pretty difficult.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming here today,
no problem.
Yakin. It's been such a pleasure, and definitely come out to the production when it happens. Well, Braden, fall is in the full swing, but it is still pretty warm outside. Are the temperatures going to drop anytime soon?
I'm glad you asked, because this past week has been pretty warm, but actually it is dropping into those lower temperatures. It was crazy this week. So overall, it is about 61 at the moment. It's overcast. Later on today, it'll go to about 65, and some of those clouds will part. And then tonight, we'll have a bit of a frost warning, so it'll be a little bit colder. It's going to go about 33 degrees. So yeah, that's our current conditions. And coming up next, find out why a major pharmaceutical company was forced to stop COVID vaccine trials, along with our full weather forecast. Stay tuned. Is he in the shot? Yeah. Usually Logan's over there, and he's like,
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Last Tuesday, AB, in a partnership with Epiphany, presented Cafe, Coffee Plus the Arts. The night was a come-and-go event in the CAF, which was designed to give students a much-needed time of relaxation.
So the thing I've enjoyed most about tonight is being able to not think about all the work I've got going on right now and just sit back and relax for a second. And I've enjoyed the free food this far.
This event gave students opportunities to relax, play games, eat food, create, view art, and watch live performances from bands and poetry readings. AB plans on having many more events throughout the school year, so be on the lookout for those events.
An unexplained illness in one of the volunteers paused the advance of the clinical trial of the experimental coronavirus vaccine. CNN reports that Johnson & Johnson's Janssen's vaccine arm is developing the shot. The company has not yet reported what the illness is. One of the points of clinical trials is to find out if vaccines cause dangerous side effects. Trials often come to a halt when doctors seek to find out if the illness is linked to the vaccine or coincidence. Well, we are here in the middle of October, but it is still pretty hot outside. Here's Braden Nelson with an explanation in his full weather forecast. Braden?
So it actually was quite warmer last week, but this week it's actually cooling down. Those fall temperatures are reflecting, so let's check it out. So currently it is about 61 degrees and it's quite overcast at the moment. So it looks a little bit dreary outside when you go, and the main difference from last week is that the humidity is way down. It's about 46% opposed to 96%, which was last week. And those wind chills are a little bit down, but they'll rise up later in the day because we'll have about a degreeage of about 65 degrees, and those clouds will part just a little bit where it's partly sunny. Again, that humidity stays the same, but we have about 13-mile-per-hour winds coming our way. So that's pretty crazy. It's going to be pretty chilly. So again, we're dropping into those lower temperatures. Finally, we're reflecting fall again. This past week was like an anomaly. It's getting colder, so I'm glad about that. Later tonight, we actually have a frost warning, which is pretty crazy. The first one of the season, as far as I'm aware. So frost advisory, it's going to be in about 33 degrees. So not quite freezing, we're just 1 degree shy, but watch out for that. You have been warned of your frost advisory. So as far as national weather goes, let's look at that real quick. So our radar is showing kind of the rain coming in our way. So we don't have too much rain coming our way right now at this moment. So for the past next 2 days, we don't have too much rain. We actually had a little bit of rain last night, oddly enough, but you kind of see a little bit of blue patches in there from the rain we have been getting, and then you have a lot of green coming our way. So that's quite interesting. We have a lot of rain closer to the end of the week. As far as our wind patterns are showing, we are getting more winds in our area opposed to last week. Last week was chill, not necessarily cold, but we didn't have too many winds. So we were kind of below the pattern, but now the pattern's kind of coming down at us, so those winds are just kind of coming down there. And as far as our national highs go, we're more in that yellow opposed to that reddish color that we were in last week, but that blue is still making our way. It's coming. That blue is coming very slowly, but very surely. Now let's check out our 7-day forecast. So overall, I'm pretty sure we have about a high of 72, which is pretty crazy because we had a high of 80-something last week. So we have a high of 72, a low of 44. And as you can see, we have a bit of an up and down week for weather. Friday and Saturday are going to be quite sunny, and then later on in Sunday evening, it's going to start raining. It has about a 40–50% chance of rain. And then Monday, it's going to rain as well. Tuesday, it's also planning on raining with a little bit of thunderstorms, actually. So be prepared for that. And then hopefully Wednesday, it'll clear back up. But I wouldn't be surprised if we still get a little bit chance of rain there. So overall, that's your weekly forecast. It's a little bit crazy, but overall, we're dipping into those colder temperatures.
Thanks, Braden. Up next, we'll be talking sports with Sadie Chisholm. A major NFL star has been cut, and the greatest of all time debate in the NBA continues. You won't want to miss it.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city.
Gear up, guys.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no. But getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchool.com.
While COVID has put a halt to some aspects of campus life, it is not stopping intramural sports from taking place. Christy Rowden announced October 1st that there are plans to have an intramural kickball tournament during the week of October 19th through 23rd. Although football was unable to happen this fall, students still seem excited to go out and play against another.
Participating because it's basically the first intramural opportunity that we get as a campus to just get out and be active and play against some other teams and have some fun.
While plans for an exact schedule and location have yet to be solidified, similar events with kickball and intramurals have occurred in the quad, the Maybe, and the intramural field. Sadie Chisholm is here with us now, and she has some interesting news to talk about from the sports world. What's going on, Sadie?
Let me tell you about it, Emma. The Crusader women's soccer team has been playing very well. They recently dubbed the Park Pirates in Parkville, Missouri. Sidonia Townsend had the first point, and Allison Reynolds and Bianca Bifford followed all within the first half of the game. Abby Schmidt, the Crusaders goalie, played the full 90 minutes and finished with 2 saves and only allowed 1 goal. The Crusaders won by a score of 3-1. On the other hand, the Florida Gators have not had as great of a week. They put a pause on activities due to a COVID-19 outbreak. The Gators were preparing for their game against LSU Tigers, but have pushed back the game time. Players, coaches, and others involved with the football program have collected 19 positive tests within the last several days. The head coach, Stan Mullen, has communicated with football players and those who they could have been in contact with to keep them updated on the circumstances. In the NFL, the New York Jets released Le'Veon Bell after a rough 19 months. It was full of disagreements and frustration from both Bell and the administration over Bell's offensive involvement. The Jets said that they have appreciated Bell's hard work while he was on the team, but both parties agreed that letting him go would be the best. Shortly after the announcement, Bell expressed his approval on Twitter with the praying hands emoji. Bell is ready to prove himself on another team. Michael Jordan or LeBron James? That is one of the debatable matchups many NBA fans have asked themselves the last several years. Jordan fans argue that the Chicago Bulls pulled a 6-0 record in their final series, with Jordan winning MVP each time, but James also has an impressive finals appearance. James has 10 finals appearances and a longer record. It is undeniable that both players are among the most talented in history. So who do you pick? I'll leave that with you to think about. Back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Sadie. When we come back, we'll look at a shocking COVID study, and join us while we celebrate 30 years of Newswatch. Stay tuned.
The best place to find adventure.
Come on, this way.
Is in the forest.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
It's beautiful.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the Angry Giant!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just gotta try a little harder.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
With the semester in full swing, Activities Board has been busy planning events for students to finish up the semester. Nathan Griffey has more on one of the upcoming events.
Some events have had to be canceled or reformatted, but one of the biggest events is still yet to come. Harvest Fest is hosted every fall semester by Activities Board, and they plan to do the same this year.
I'm very thankful that we can do it. We never really had a thought of not doing it. It was like, if it's possible, we're going to do it. And so it was just more how, not if, that we were exploring. So the first thing was just to make sure if we could have it at the Galois or not. That's the first thing. So we already had that venue booked, but they would have been willing to let us go elsewhere for capacity-wise. So that's what birthed the idea of having 2 different shows. So this year, instead of just 1 show, we kind of shortened them, and we're going to have 2 shows, one at 4 p.m. and one at 8 p.m.
Harvest Fest is a variety show featuring a wide variety of talents such as music, skits, and a costume contest. Each year has its own theme and a big reveal during chapel.
So I'm super excited for Harvest Fest this year. You know, last year we did a skit called Scout 7, and we're hoping to do another rendition of it this year. But I'm just excited for it to all come into play because, you know, COVID and everything haven't been able to do a whole lot. So I'm looking forward to what Harvest Fest has to bring this year.
The theme reveal is set to be October 16th at Chapel, but the main event will be November the 14th right here at the Galois Theater in downtown Springfield. For Newswatch Today, I'm Nathan Griffey.
Thanks, Nathan. A study that was taken in September by the Center for Disease Control released a report that showed masks and coverings are not effective in preventing the spread of the coronavirus. Even for people who consistently wear them, over 70% of 154 case patients were contaminated with the virus and fell ill despite always wearing a mask. The study also demonstrated that under 4% of the case patients became sick with the virus even though they never wore a mask or face covering. Well, with fall in full swing, our faces may not be the only things that we'll have to cover up here pretty soon. Right, Braden?
That's for sure. You can expect to wear some scarves and some warm weather gear to keep warm, actually. Anyways, so our weather for this week is actually a little bit up and down. Overall, it is colder than last week. Actually, tonight we're going to have a frost warning, so make sure to watch out for that. It's going to dip down into about 33 degrees. So you've been warned. There's your frost warning. And so later this upcoming week, it's supposed to be sunny, kind of the start of the week, and then kind of midweek, it's going to be a little bit rainy with a dash of thunderstorms. And then at the end of the week, hopefully it'll be sunny again, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more storms. Overall, we have a high of 72 and a low of 44. So it's being overall colder. So that's our weather for this week.
We love Newswatch, and it is so exciting that we've come to 30 years of doing it. I have this beautiful cake in front of me I'm looking at, and I cannot wait to celebrate and eat some of this. But let's take a look at Newswatch over the years.
Good evening, I'm Julie Jacobs.
And I'm Mark Owens. Tonight on EC News, a respected professor of environment visits Evangel. The Adopt a Highway program in Missouri is giving roads a facelift. We'll have the story.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. I'm Selena Simpson.
And I'm Tim Rodman.
From the campus of Evangel College to the community of Springfield, this is Newswatch with Tim Rodman, Tricia McDonald, with weather, Brandon Beck, and with sports, Ben Bliss.
Here's our Missouri map. We're expecting lower to mid-40s depending on where you are in the state. In the upper part of the state, we're expecting lower to mid-40s, 44 for Columbia, St. Louis, and 45 for Kansas City.
Well, that sounds pretty good, Brandon. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, Cleveland Brown fans are going to soon become Baltimore Browns fans. Seth Merce will be back with more.
Good evening. Welcome to Newswatch.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. I'm Lindsay Aller-Heiligen.
And I'm Mitch Sims.
Crystal Moyes joins us now with the studio with sports. How's it going with sports?
Last Thursday at 6 p.m., Evangel University's football team played the Lindenwood Lions in St. Charles, Missouri.
Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm David Kristevsky.
And 9-piece Isagon.
A gunman's threat puts local college campuses on lockdown.
And an Evangel Crusader makes steps towards the music world.
This and more coming up on Newswatch Today.
Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Michael Gibson.
And I'm Elizabeth Fry. Coming up, Twitter is making significant cutbacks.
Plus a recap of Tuesday's Democrat presidential debate.
Brian's here with your forecast and Seth has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today.
Wow, it's crazy, all the different hairstyles from the past 30 years. Times really changed, don't they, Emma?
Oh my goodness, yeah, my hair is only like medium big compared to like the big hair back in the time. Fun fact, so in the year 1989, I know it's 2020, so 30 years would have been 1990. In 1989, they did an experimental Newswatch, which was ECTV at the time, and I guess the experiment went very successful because here we are 30 years later. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week. I'm Emma Armstrong.
And I'm Morgan Pagel. Join us again next week as we bring you the latest in news from around the campus and beyond. This has been Newswatch Today.